How's it going, college football fans? It is your boy, the Jared Sawyer, here again with another edition of Cows and Quacks. And joined always is Mr. Tim Alcorn. Tim, show the people some love, man.
Man, we love all our fans and listeners. And hold on one second. Okay, Brandon, let's go, Brandon. We'll see you later.
Let's go, Brandon.
I was just saying, going. So I want to jump off and go something totally different than I usually do. I want to tell everybody that my Astros are one game for the World Series and keep hating us. I love being the villain.
Did they cheat this time, or are they doing it legitimately?
I think they all cheat, but I think they're doing it legitimate. When you got a great team, it doesn't matter.
Just give them the shit, man.
now I want to, and I got a take that's kind of weird on the Washington State. I believe his name is Nick Rolovich.
Nick Rolovich,
the coach.
Yeah,
and good coach. And I'm against any federal, state, city mandates. I'm okay with a company mandating vaccinations because that's their right. That's called free enterprise. But I'm not okay with the government doing it. That being said, I've been vaccinated for 8 months, and I do understand that I have a better chance of not dying since I have. It doesn't keep me from getting it. My take on him is, first off, I believe it should be his right to not get vaccinated. The problem I have with it is 6 months ago, he said he would get vaccinated. And because he didn't, 5 of his assistants got fired too because they came along with him. And I believe he shouldn't have to, but I believe it's integrity. And if he said he was going to do it and didn't do it, that's not good. What's your take on that?
Yeah, it's a touchy subject, and what's interesting is, people, this whole vaccine thing has been a real head trip for me in a lot of ways, particularly because, the normal vaccination process, if you're going to roll out a vaccine for something, takes anywhere between 2 to 4 years with clinical studies, double-blind placebos, test groups to really dial it in. As a matter of fact, 2020 when they were talking about bringing this all out, a lot of people had an issue with it, and then suddenly a bunch of people didn't. And so it's been interesting to me, the politicizing of it, on one side or the other, and at the crux of it, it's one of those things where if you want to take something that because you're concerned about your health, more power to you. And that's kind of to me the beauty of freedom of choice is being able to be in a position where you can call your own shots and be able to make decisions for yourself health wise.
Right.
But
that being said, if you're not exercising, if you're smoking, if you're eating processed foods, that you're already putting a lot worse crap in your body probably. And on the 2 to 4 year thing, I told everybody, I said, they will have a vaccine in a year. I said, it's got to take 2 to 4 years. I said, no. What I believe on that is this just shows you what they can do if they need to do it in a hurry. This vaccine, this pandemic, and it is a pandemic. I've lost friends from it. I know personal people that have lost their lives. Colin Powell lost his life. It is a serious pandemic. That being said, I do believe that people should have a choice in what they put in their body. I just think that's, but I don't believe the government should mandate it. But I am okay, not with like Southwest, who's having to be forced to do it. That's against it. But if you put it in place as a company, that's your right, and that's free trade. But I'm not okay with the government mandating it.
Well, I think that's where I think most people should be able to come to the table and agree is, do you want the government calling the shots for your life? No pun intended, right? And do you want them telling you what you can and cannot do to be employed? And to me, that's where I have the biggest issue of this really should not be a situation where the government has any say. And
no, but I'm perfectly fine with companies, not companies being forced, but companies saying, hey, if you catch it and we all catch it, my little business is going to be out of business. So we all got to do what we can to try to keep our business open, and I'm perfectly fine with that.
Oh, for sure. I don't disagree with that at all. I think that companies are going to have to do what they have to do to make sure that they're okay. And the last thing you want is for somebody to be in a situation where they have to close their business. And that's the way that they make their living, and they support their
and I'm okay with that. I mean, if you own a small restaurant, I'm going to want everybody to be vaccinated, because being off 2 to 3 weeks, that could destroy my business. So I get it. And I researched it, and I got over stage 3 colon cancer. Chemo's the only thing I've ever been allergic to in my life, so I wasn't scared of the vaccine. And I was a bitch for about a week, but after that I was okay. And but I want less government. I believe we're both very much on the libertarian party.
Yeah, yeah. I don't mind sharing my beliefs and opinions, and it might not align with you, the listener, and that's okay. And that's the thing everyone needs to kind of keep a level head about. Is just because we might not agree on something doesn't mean we can't all be friends and get along. Tim and I don't agree on a lot of stuff, but that doesn't make us.
I love you like my brother, and it's okay that we don't agree.
Likewise, man. What we do agree on is that college football's halfway through this season. And
yes.
And what's startling to me about that is I still don't have a clue who Oregon is. I still don't have a clue who Texas is. We know who the hell Georgia is. That's about it. And
well, I believe that we know who Cincy is.
Cincy's a good team.
I believe that Cincy, if they run the table and don't get in, it will be a travesty of all travesties.
I agree with that. I'd like to see them make it at this point. You went 4-2 last week, and we both went 4-2. Texas has a bye week this week. What do you want to see improved with Texas, man? Because to me, it's a mystery. They're up 1 week, they're down another.
Well, no, they're up every week. They just let people come back. I want them to, first off, find different ways to give Xavier Worthy. When you got someone that's got 4.1 open speed, you find ways to get him the ball.
Yeah.
We didn't game plan with him last week. 5 catches, 28 yards. That's unacceptable. And if you're going to have Bijan, and Bijan is incredible, by the way, but if you're going to keep him open, Xavier Worthy is the key. He's got to stretch the field, and where they're not putting 8 people in the box, and you're going to have Bijan having 300 and 400 yard days. And I love Stark. I think he's going to be a great coach. But you got a game plan with getting Xavier Worthy the ball. He's, other than Bijan, he's the most electric player on the field, in the rounds, whatever. You find a way to get the ball in his hands. First play against Oklahoma, he takes a 75 yards on a little flat pass.
I think Texas is going to be a pretty dominant team here in the next couple of years. I think that the stress that Sark's offense is going to put on a lot of defenses is not going to be something guys are prepared for. That being said, this first year's a tough one to look at here and there, because you're right in these games. Arkansas is the only one it looked like Texas wasn't really in. And,
well, I got something. I'm going to throw something in real quick. Arch Manning just had his 3rd visit last weekend, and the kid was having the time of his life in the stands. So that's a program changer. I believe it's between us and Clemson. I think he loves Sark. If Arch Manning is a game and program changer. So if you get Arch Manning, everything is out the window.
Yeah, he looks like an NFL quarterback and he's in high school. But I mean, he's a Manning. He's got the pedigree for it.
And it's not like he hadn't been taught since birth.
Right, exactly. All right, we're going to kick this off with the Big Ten. Purdue. Who the hell is Purdue, Tim?
There's someone that slapped the shit out of Iowa, and that's why I wanted to get real high on Iowa, but no offense. if you have no offense, it gets you sooner or later.
It does get you sooner or later. Wisconsin's a different animal. They're coming in. They're angry. They're pissed. They have not had the best season Iowa could have this year. Purdue's ranked for the first time in, God, I don't know how long, man. How do you see this game going?
I see a even game through 3 quarters, 2.5 quarters. I do believe that Wisconsin will end up controlling the game. I have them winning 38-25.
I agree with that take. I have Wisconsin 24-17. To me, I feel like Iowa had a little bit of a hangover, and they got caught at the right time. And Purdue's going to experience the very similar feel to that this coming week. Bring us into our next game here.
Okay, we have number 8 Oklahoma State, who beat my Longhorns, going in to play Iowa State, which is always a tough place to play. First off, forget about Oklahoma State for a second. They have one of the best coaches in college football. I believe he's been there 16 years or 13 years, whatever. He's never had a losing record, went to a bowl game every year, and had some teams that were close to competing for the national championship. So Mike Gundy, he's a hell of a coach. And I see why he stays in Oklahoma State because, man, he's kind of God there. So, I see this game. I think Iowa State's going to put up a fight. I think Oklahoma State's for real. I think they win at 28-25.
See, I have Okie State as well. I have them 41-17. Iowa State just has not developed into the team I think myself and a lot of other people kind of assumed they would be this year. I mean, they beat Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl last year. And I just kind of assumed that they would kind of keep things moving in that direction. And for whatever reason, man, it just hasn't transpired. So, want to talk LSU here coming into play Ole Miss because the storylines outside of the football game in this are some of the most ridiculous we've seen in a long time. So, let's first talk about last week in Tennessee and Lane Kiffin getting out of Neyland Stadium with his life, barely, and golf balls and all sorts of other crap thrown at him on the field. And
not acceptable. Not acceptable.
It's a bad look, Volunteer fans. And then we also have Coach O, who got fired after hitting on a chancellor's wife at a gas station. And to me, like, my head hurts thinking, I'm like, what in the hell is happening in college football right now? Honestly, I don't know what to make of LSU at this point in the season. I think Ole Miss, and I'll take this one, is going to come in and lay the smack down on them. I have them 48-20, but it should be interesting to see the way LSU responds to having Coach O fired. It could be really positive, it could be really negative.
Coach O's a great coach. He's a very, very good coach. And I understand the Me Too movement, and it's needed. But, he also got caught up in the scandal of people that were there before him, Les Miles. So he's kind of getting the shaft because of what Les Miles did while he was there and what Les Miles let happen. For me, I believe that USC made a mistake, and USC needs to be on the phone with Ed Orgeron talking to him about coming back.
Yeah. Yeah.
We both thought it was a mistake when they let him go.
USC has made some blunders, and I actually really enjoy watching their blunders. It helps us with recruiting.
Of course.
Who do you got? Are you going to take LSU in the upset, or do you think Ole Miss is just going to
No. I think LSU is these boys' hearts are broken, man. And they I believe they'll still play hard for Coach O, but I think at 35-21, Mississippi, and I do believe Mississippi's pretty good.
Yeah. Take us into our next game, and I'll round us out here with the game of the week later.
Okay. Yep. We have number 5 Ohio State going into an Indiana team that has had its ups and downs this year. We expected a lot more from them. All that being said, Ohio State does have a tough time playing in Indiana.
Yes.
They always have. I believe Indiana almost beat them last year or the year before. Came right
Both,
down to like the
both
last
seasons.
second.
Both seasons, yeah.
Yeah. And I believe I do believe Ohio State will pull it out. I just believe that Ohio State. I believe that Indiana will give them a fight, but I'm going to go 35-24. Question here, and be honest with me. Let's talk about this. Before I want to hear from you. How the hell is Ohio State number 5 and y'all are number 10 when you went to their house and beat them?
It's a great question, Tim. I think I can answer that very easily. One, they have a different brand name than Oregon, and they're a blue bud. That is 100% part of the reason. They play on the East Coast. People see their games. We play on the West Coast. Only the West Coast people typically watch our games, unless you're a night owl or you're up late.
It's tough. It's tough. I'm going to tell you what. I'm on the East Coast now. And it's tough. It's tough trying to stay up for one of your damn games.
Sure.
I mean, I'm a damn old man, and 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, finishing a game. I understand it.
And here's the other piece to it. If you have, so Oregon's they should have beat Stanford, but the game shouldn't have been close, right? And should have beat Cal by more than what we did. Should have beat Arizona by more than we did. Like, Oregon has underperformed dramatically. I'm not making excuses for them. Anthony Brown should not be the starter anymore.
But he's a pretty good quarterback. 20 of 28 last week with a touchdown. That's not bad.
It's not those. It's not the stats. The stats are misleading. It's just the manner in which things are done on the field. And I mean, there's moments where he literally put the ball on the turf and didn't come back for it. and everyone's standing around going, dude, what the hell are you doing? But what's confusing about Anthony Brown is then he'll gut out some incredible passes and runs, and you're like, okay, so the kid's clearly talented. It's a consistency issue with him. And to me, it's a trust thing. And it's like, how are you going to keep performing like that? I mean, we're having top tier wide receivers decommitting and going other places now. The offense is not clicking at the pace you need to win the Pac-12, let alone compete in the playoffs. And so, yeah, you have, a one-loss Oregon team sitting at number 10 in the country, and there's a ton of disrespect around that. But at the same time, I mean, this is coming from one of the most outspoken, hardcore Super Duck fans you will ever hear from, folks. I honestly don't have a problem with our ranking. And I'll tell you why. When a top-tier team goes up against a shitbag team, you need to lay the freaking wood on that team. Cal took Oregon down to the last play of the game, and Oregon made a goal line stand and won. I was at that game. I had a great time.
I stayed up late for that game. That game was scary.
To me, there's absolutely zero excuse. The recruiting level, the talent level, and even the coaching level on each side of the ball are dramatically better at Oregon. So to let teams hang in there with you to the fourth quarter and not put them away, and to let teams drive the field on you and almost tie the game up, it's absolutely abysmal. Like, there's no freaking reason Cal should ever be in that game. They have one loss. And listen, or one win, sorry, and it's over an FCS team. And while I get it, I get that interconference is different than playing out-of-conference games. I get that everybody. The perception of Oregon being in tight ball games with shitbag teams is the reason why they're ranked number 10, and I think it's justifiably so. And so Ohio State has done nothing but gone out and win and kick the living shit out of other teams that had no business being in games with them. They're going to go in, and I think they're going to beat the tar out of Indiana this week. I think it's going to be close for a little while, and I think they pull away and win 51-38. And as much as I hate Ohio State, and I'm so happy we went into their home field and dominated them for 4 straight quarters and closed them out and won the game, Oregon, honestly, hasn't earned us a top 5 spot the way Ohio State has. Ohio State has one loss to a good Oregon team on that day, and then have figured out themselves the rest of the year. Oregon had a really, really good win in Ohio State and haven't been able to figure out themselves since. So two very different teams, in my opinion. That being said, bring us into our game this week. Oregon plays at UCLA. College game day will be there. I'm driving up from San Diego to LA, picking up some friends, meeting some friends. It's going to be a fun time. Kayvon Thibodeaux.
Before I bring this in, I want to throw something in. Sam Ellinger come off injured reserve, and they dropped Jacob Eason and kept him in Indianapolis Colts. So I think at some point in time he's probably going to start for that team. But
for
now
who?
let's go into for the Colts. Sam Ellinger, he got kept on as a quarterback. So
okay.
He's actually a quarterback in the NFL now for good. So for a while anyhow. So our great owner of our radio station, he's Buckeye, but he's graduating from Purdue next semester. So is he going to be a Buckeye or a Boilermaker? We need to ask him that.
I mean, that's a pretty. Actually, I know quite a few people that have done that. Weirdly enough, they're from Ohio State, but they go to Purdue for their engineering school. So yeah, it's
right.
It's
just like he's doing. So. But it'll be interesting to see where his heart is after going to both.
Yeah, Jeff's a good guy. How do you see this game going with Oregon, Tim?
I see, Chip Kelly just a hell of a coach, and I think they're going to have a good day. I think that it's going to be pretty wide open, and I see UCLA 38 and Oregon 41.
Oh, you're taking Oregon. All right.
Yes, I believe that it's okay. Right now it's not good for the rankings, close games, but and they lost the one close game. But if you keep winning close games, that's a good thing in the end because it teaches you how to win close games. And there is something to that.
No, I agree. So a couple things I noticed last week that caught my attention that were positive. So Kayvon came in the game at halftime and had an obscene impact on the game. Cal's O-line did a pretty good job, but honestly, from what I've seen of this Chip Kelly team, he has the same issues he had at Oregon. When you have a specimen, and I'll call him that because he's a specimen, like Kayvon Thibodeaux.
He's a dog, what he is, man.
Dude,
he's a dog.
He's scary. There's a reason why he'll go first overall in the draft. When you have a guy like that, it's very, very difficult to keep your quarterback upright all game. I think Kayvon will be actually the difference maker in this game, ending a couple drives late. The O-line will be tired. Kayvon will be feasting. And I think that makes a difference. I have Oregon 28-24 in this game. I think that here's what I know about this team so far. I know they play down to their opponents, but they also get up for big games. They got up for Ohio State. They played to their potential. They played crisp ball. And I think they're going to have a similar game Saturday against UCLA. I think they're going to be ready for the game. They're going to come out fired up. Most of these guys are from Los Angeles, so they're going to be in front of their fans or their family and local fans. And I think for them, this is a little bit of a homecoming. It's going to be 70 degrees at kickoff. It's going to be perfect weather in Pasadena. And I like Oregon winning this game. Ironically enough, point spread, UCLA is like a 2.5 point favor. So if you guys want to make some money, bet the Ducks this weekend for sure. I'm headed up Saturday, Tim. It's going to be fun. I'm not going to college game day. There's not enough time. So this is a little bit of a gripe. I love going to college game day when I can. I haven't been in a few years, but typically they'll do it near the stadium so that way the fans can, go to college game day and then mosey on over to the game. For whatever reason, they're doing this on campus at UCLA, and then they expect everyone to get over to the Rose Bowl, which is a good 45 minutes to an hour, especially with traffic, and time to make kickoff.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. So
just do game day at the Rose Bowl. It's pretty simple.
It's pretty
So I got
simple.
a question. I want to ask you about about Thibodeaux. In a lot of ways, he reminds me of Jadeveon Clowney. Do you see any of the same?
Yeah, Similar attributes, right?
He can put his hand down. He can get the rush. He can get the run. He can edge rush. He can rush with a hand down. I mean, he's got it all. And,
he's got similar attributes. Honestly, his early injury this year really put him in a spot where he's not as showcased as I think everyone was hoping. He's not coming back next year. And there's been some chatter on Twitter. Duck fans come on. The guy is not coming back. He's going to go play NFL football and have an amazing career.
You can't do anything but go down from here.
Yeah.
You can't get higher than first overall pick.
No. Yeah. You got to take your money. And Clowney's a good example. I just don't think he's been in a showcase this year because he plays in the Pac-12 and our games are on at ungodly hours of the night. But listen, East Coast folks, tune in. The game's at 3:30 your time. Have yourself a beer. Watch him play. He's number 5. You will see him sack the quarterback, DTR, quite a bit. I think Oregon really, honestly, is going to show out in this game. I could be dead wrong, Tim. Maybe we just suck and I don't know it. And I think after this week, if they put on a really good performance nationally and they dominate UCLA, I honestly believe they'll start getting the respect they probably should have. It's just it's a matter of, I'm looking at next week, Colorado comes in to play Eugene. Is that going to be a 1-score game in the fourth quarter? These guys are difficult for me to figure out. And as much as I love this team and I want to see them win and succeed, eking out victories against lesser opponents is just unacceptable. You got to beat the lesser teams down. You have to establish yourself. And if you're not doing that, I just don't get what's not working there. So
yeah, it's tough. Me and you mirror each other a lot. Our quarterbacks are still learning the system. If I knew we would be in 3-3, we would have just kept the freshmen in and let our 5-star get used to playing. And that may end up being the case with y'all. But right now, Anthony, I think you got to keep him in as long as you're winning games.
Yeah, that's fair. So next week, Halloween weekend. We have number 6 Michigan playing number 9 Michigan State. That's going to be a fun game. We have Georgia versus Florida, the world's largest cocktail party. Purdue goes to play a pretty decent looking Nebraska team. I know I say that, but they're getting in games now. Texas Tech, Oklahoma, and then a good old matchup in the shoe. Number 7 Penn State taking on number 5 the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Now, who are you playing next week?
Colorado.
Okay, that's right. Who are we playing?
Who is Texas?
I should have looked.
Who is Texas playing? I'm looking on the schedule. You guys don't have back-to-back bye weeks, do you?
Oh, okay. I would hope not.
That'd be a little rough. You guys play at Baylor next week.
At Baylor. Well, that's a hell of a. Baylor's a good team.
We're gonna have some games.
Baylor's a good team. They're not the Baylor of old that run and shoot. They hit hard. They got incredible speed. But on defense, they knock the shit out of people. Baylor's a good team.
Baylor's a good team. Sneaky team this week. We will be back next week.
Coastal Carolina got beat last night.
I didn't even know they were playing last night. Shame on me. I had a lot of work stuff going on.
Yeah, Appalachian State beat them in the very end.
App State, man.
App State's a good program.
What a sneaky little program.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, we'll be back next week as always, here to talk more college football, talk about what's right and what's wrong in the world. But until